Of course, I ended up crying. I knew this is gonna happen. I just couldn't stop crying. I was even unable to breathe. Franz said that his little heart is not pumping anymore. I was like, what the heck just happened? He's really dead. I couldn't believe that was really happening in front of my eyes, that my worst nightmare was happening in real life. Life is so unpredictable. One day you're happy, laughing, feeling safe, and the next day everything you love is taken away from you. And I knew I would have to say goodbye someday because we are not immortal, but I never thought it would be this sooner and this painful, this way. If you ever had someone you love deeply, you may know that this kind of pain will never really goes away. So that's when you realize that nothing will ever be the same, because I thought I had more time. I thought I would wake up to the same little, joys that made my days brighter. But now there's just emptiness and loneliness. And I gotta say that this is a very difficult video to make for me because it's been 5 months, but it's still so difficult for me to talk about it and, give all the details. So I'm really trying to control myself not to cry every 5 minutes in between takes. I'm making this video mainly because this channel is about a visual diary of my life, about my daily life, my entrepreneurship, my career, and everything that happens in my life. And of course I had to include this one because it's something that happened into my life that was so important and so painful for me. And I never thought I would start my diary series telling you this tragedy, this trauma, but it is what it is. As I said, life is unpredictable, so it is what it is. And I'm also making this video as a way to honor Puffy's memory and for myself. I know that I will have this video always here to remember everything and calm it a little bit. I really know that somehow this message will be sent to Puffy and he will hear my words for him. So yeah, it's like a way to say goodbye to him and to honor his beautiful memories. And also this video is for all people out there that have bunnies, of course, but also, pets, animals, whatever, call them whatever you want. I love to call them soulmates, mates, or little angels, or my child instead of pets. But anyways, it's for everyone having pets. I would really like to give you some tips and recommendations at the end of this video. So please watch that part at least if you don't really care about Puffy or our story. I will perfectly understand that, but please go to the last part because especially if you have bunnies, this information may save yours. Also, please, if you have a bunny, stay with me on the second point at least, because I will explain everything that happened from the beginning and I will give you a lot of details about how Puffy behavior was, what happened exactly, and what kind of symptoms he had. So pay attention, because if you start to notice the same things, the same behaviors or symptoms in your bunny, that means that he will probably have the same problem, and you can treat it on time, and of course maybe you can save your bunny. Okay, first of all, let me tell you how I met this little angel. This will be probably the most happiest point of this video. So by telling you his story, I can honor his memory, and you can know a little bit more about me and Puffy. And also, why Puffy and not Puffy, right? Well, actually, the name Puffy was something that I created myself. It's actually a mix of two words. The Romanian word pufosh, and the English word fluffy. So if you mix them, is Puffy. I know it's a little bit what the heck, but pufosh actually in Romanian means fluffy, and fluffy, you know what it means in English. So basically it's like double fluffiness, I guess. Where I live in Spain, we pronounce Puffy, not Puffy, so that's why I will always say Puffy. I don't know, it's just the way we called him. So I met my little angel on February 2021, and he was just 2 months. One day, me and my best friend Fran, which is like my brother, you may know about him, it's also my roommate because we are living together. So me and Fran one day went to a store because we really wanted to have a bunny. And I actually had 2 bunnies before Puffy. When we arrived, I just saw a small, little, cute bunny love in the corner, and he was like, annoyed and angry, while all the rest of the bunnies were jumping and happy, and that one was there in the corner. Like, I instantly felt that connection, and I just found him adorable, and I couldn't leave this place without him. It was like, you are my destiny, I just fell in love with you, now you're mine. And as soon as we arrived at home, we had an instant connection. He was like literally my baby, and I was like his mother. So he was so relaxed and calm by my side. He even slept in my arms the very first day, and that's somehow strange on bunnies because they're very distrustful and scared the first time because they don't know you. So from that day on, I swear I treated him like a king, and I did everything I could. I was full responsible for him, and of course I have invested a lot of money for his health at the vet. Since he was very little, he always, because of genetics, he always had tooth problems and he needed surgery, but I didn't care. I was decided to spend even my last dollar for him, so that was not a problem. I also bought the most expensive food for him, which, by the way, I really recommend if you have a bunny. I will let you... It is called Oxbow, and I will let you the link down below or a photo right here, I don't know. But that's literally the best one, and my vet also recommended me that one. And yes, I can tell you that it's a very good food for your bunny. So everything was good. I was taking good care of him. I was falling in love with him every single day. And sometimes I even skipped college classes because I had to medicate him. And as you may know, antibiotics and certain medicines have specific times, specific hours when you have to take them in order for them to be effective. I don't regret anything. In general, he had good health and he loved to eat a lot, but a lot, guys. Even after surgery, right after surgery, as soon as we arrive home, he will run away to his bowl to eat, and he was still anesthetized and dizzy, guys. But still, he was there eating because that was his favorite activity in the entire world. We always said, if Puffy don't want to eat, that only means that he's about to die. And I was right. In the end, I was totally right. Please, if you have a bunny, take note of everything I'm about to say in this part because that can save your bunny. So one of Puffy's cheeks started to look more swollen than the other one, and honestly, even with how attentive I am to every detail, I wouldn't have noticed that. I was lucky because I was living with Fran, and he was the one who noticed that because, that his knowledge area. He actually have a degree as a veterinary assistant, so he's actually studying that. So that's why he was able to notice something that I would personally never had noticed. And he said that we should go to the vet as soon as possible because that may be a bacterial abscess, and indeed it was. You actually wouldn't have noticed because his behavior or hunger didn't really change at all. He was acting normal, eating a lot, as always. So the vet confirmed that he had a bacterial abscess, and in the mouth again. Everything, like literally every problem Puffy had was because of his mouth or his teeth. But yeah, he needed surgery in order for them to remove that abscess of his mouth. So Puffy did the surgery, everything was fine, he was recovering, eating a lot as normal, and they also prescribed us more medicines and some antibiotics. Let me turn my lights on. So we also treated him twice a day to heal that wound because after surgery, literally they left him a hole in his cheek, and it was so horrible for me to see that, to see my little cute angel with a hole in his cheek. It was like, damn. I will let you a picture about that here in a moment, but if you're a sensitive person, it's better not to see that picture, so just skip 10 seconds. Anyway, we did everything that was necessary, and I think I took him to the vet at least once or twice every single week to check up if everything is fine, if the wound is healing correctly, and because I was so worried and I really wanted to make sure that everything was okay. And we were told that the wound was healing correctly, that everything was okay, nothing to worry about, and that there is no more abscess, which is a very good sign. But also very important note here, Puffy started to sneeze more and more every day. I'm not sure if that was a sneezing, but it was very similar. It was that thing like, you know what I mean? Like, even vets didn't know what was that exactly, but they say that nothing to worry about, that was normal, was everything okay, and blah blah blah. They just prescribed him some medicines. It was Primeripan. I don't know if that's the name for the medicines in English, but one day we got even scared because he had sneezing attacks in a loop, like if he couldn't stop sneezing, like, and I'm not exaggerating, it was like that. He was even like jumping, when he sneezed, and if it was like, if it was something chronic, and of course we were so worried, let the vet know about that several times. I was literally telling the vet about any possible little symptoms Puffy had at that time. I had even paranoia because I was so worried because I knew how delicate bunnies can be. So I just wanted to make sure that was everything okay. And the vet said that everything was okay, nothing to worry about, nothing serious. and they prescribed me some more medicines, but basic stuff, and I don't need to be a vet to know that, because that's the kind of medicines you also prescribe to child when they catch a cold, or when they are not eating normal, when they have eating disorders, something like that. So that's the kind of medicine that you prescribe to people that have overall good health, but just some little problems here and there, nothing serious. And that's why I think they didn't do their job well. They had to pay way more attention to that and not just prescribe basic medicines and then tell me that everything is okay, nothing to worry about, because literally days after that, my bunny passed away. So what the heck are you saying? All this process since he got the surgery until he passed away, it was 3 or almost 4 weeks, and the last week was the worst. Puffy started losing weight super abruptly, no matter what he ate, and that was super strange. And actually, that's the very first sign when someone is about to pass away. Because human or animal, it doesn't matter, it's always like that. If someone starts to lose weight suddenly, no matter what they ate, and if they look pale and weak, that's the very first sign that that person doesn't have that much time left. And I knew that something was definitely not okay with Puffy. I could feel him, like he was like my son, my soulmate. I felt his pain. I felt that he was acting strange somehow, doing things that he will normally not do. And let me tell you something, that's actually the second sign that someone is going to pass away. When someone is about to leave, when their soul is about to leave their body and this world, their behavior also changes strangely. They do things that they will normally not do, or they will say things that they will never say. And you know that something is going on with that person, right? That something is not normal and it's just weird or strange. Our inner soul knows when they don't have that much time left here, and that's why usually people tend to change their behavior. Perhaps they become more affectionate or say things that they will never say before. Maybe if there is a person that always was super cold, super rude to you, whatever, he will start to act super kind and feel sorry for doing you this and that. When you don't have that much time left in this world, you will start to regret a lot of things. Consciously or unconsciously, that's what your mind is going to do, so that's why they will act strange. And same goes for animals. Animals will also start to act weird or strange or do things that they will normally don't do, and especially being super affectionate and be around you every time. I will also suddenly have a lot of thoughts, or let's say inner voices, telling me that Puffy doesn't have that much time left here, and that I have to spend as much time as possible with him so I won't regret it later. And at that time I didn't know, but these voices were my spirit guides telling me what was about to happen. I don't know if it was just to warn me or just to prevent. I don't know if maybe they were telling me this because there was a way for me to save him or not. And I will probably never know. But at the same time, I prefer not to know that, because that will bring more pain. So those voices were telling me what was about to happen, But I didn't want to believe that. I didn't want to believe that that was even possible. And I just refused to believe what they were telling me, and I simply ignored them. The last 3 days, Puffy became weaker and weaker and ate less and less, which was very unusual for him. But even though he continued to eat a little bit, he ate until his last moments of life because, eating was his favorite activity in the whole world. I was constantly calling the vet, telling them everything, but they told me not to worry, of course, and that everything was okay. Until the last day, I literally felt it. I kind of felt his soul is about to leave his body, and there's no much time left. Because assuming bunnies do not truly show discomfort or pain until it's too late, because they are prey. So be very careful with that. So I was noticing he wasn't right the last week, because even with all the medication, even taking care of him 24 hours and telling the vet this and that, he was getting worse and worse, and that was an obvious sign, like he is getting worse. No matter what kind of medicine we are giving him, but this is getting worse and worse. Isn't that strange? But it wasn't strange for vets. It was like normal stuff and nothing to worry about. The day he passed away, like 24 hours before that day I was spending the whole day with him in my arms, but I was so worried. I was super paranoid because I knew that something is going to happen, and I was writing, I have the message there, I was writing to both my boyfriend and Fran, which he wasn't at home, he was working, so I was alone at home with Puffy, and I was writing to both of them. I know that something is happening, I know I'm so worried for Puffy, I really want to take them urgently to the vet, and I know that something is definitely not okay, he is super weak. And I was also sending them photos, you can see them here, and I mean, you don't need to be a vet to know that actually he's not okay, that something is happening and he's so weak, and that he lost a lot of weight, so it's not normal. And when Fran arrived home at night, Puffy was so ill, at the point that he was unable to eat or even stand. At that moment, we panicked a lot, and we knew that we gotta take him to a vet as soon as possible. But if by fate it was Sunday, and that means that my vet was closed, and the only 24-hour vet that we had in Madrid was called Vetcom, but it was a little bit far from us, and we needed a car, and we don't have a car. So as we were organizing the calls, I was about to call my boyfriend and tell him, hey, come here, hurry up, because we gotta take Puffy to Vetcom and come here by car and this and that. And Fran was about to call Vetcom and let them know that we have an urgency. Meanwhile, Puffy was next to me. He was basically lying in bed. He was so weak. He couldn't even walk. Before that, I literally made a video about him. I will let the video here. He was unable to walk, and that was the moment when Fran and I panicked a lot. Like, we knew that Puffy was about to pass away. Like, that's not normal for a bunny. And before we even called someone, in a second, literally unexpectedly, he had like a spasm and he jumped out of the bed and he fell to the floor and hit a little bit his head with the wall and, just stayed there on the ground, still not moving, like even with his eyes closed. And I was a little bit shocked because I thought that he, in that moment, he died literally. And my first reaction was to pick him up from the floor and put him on the bed. And he started like running around like a headless chicken while he was having spasms. Fran was panicking as well, and he took him in his arms while was screaming, "No, please, no." And Puffy was having more and more spasms. And of course I was in shock at that moment. I couldn't believe that was really happening in front of my eyes, that my worst nightmare was happening in real life. But this time was even worse because I can't wake up, right? This is happening in real life. And Fran was crying, but at the same time trying to stay calm and have a little bit of control about the situation. And he tried to revive him, and I was just in shock watching everything without even saying a word. I was like, this is not happening. Like, I refused my reality. I couldn't believe that was actually happening until the last moment, when in the last minute Puffy just stopped moving and stayed still in his arms. And we were both kneeling on the floor in shock, and I couldn't even cry at that moment because I wasn't assimilating what had just happened. So I don't even cry. I was like, what the heck just happened? Like, he's really dead? Like, in a few minutes after I realized the whole situation, and after Fran said that his little heart is not pumping anymore, I just said, he's no longer with us. He has really passed away. And you can imagine how I felt afterward. I started crying on the floor for a long time, unable to even get up. And Fran was also crying a lot. We were both crying together with Puffy in our arms. I just couldn't stop crying. I was even unable to breathe. And meanwhile, Fran told my boyfriend what actually happened, because I couldn't even call him or text him, whatever. It was late, it was midnight. And as soon as my boyfriend found out what happened, of course he came running to Fran's house. And he was also in shock, of course, because Puffy was everything for the three of us. We spent a lot of time with Puffy, having good moments, good memories, and we even had memes and stickers of Puffy being angry, Puffy eating, Puffy whatever. And I can really say that how is my boyfriend, by the way, had the same affection and appreciation for him as we did. So he was also feeling destroyed. And we took Puffy to VetCon. At that moment, even if I was crying, I was destroyed, but I just make an effort to stand up and go to VetCon, because I was both angry and frustrated at that time, I wanted to at least know what really happened. But there at VetCon, they told us that in order to perform an autopsy to know what happened, they will have to literally dismember the body, of course, and it was mandatory, at least in Spain it is, to cremate the body afterwards by law, if that's an animal. And of course I refused to cremate him because in my culture and in my country, bodies are never cremated. We don't use fire when someone dies. It is said that fire is definitely not good for the spirit to go away in peace, and that the body should return to Mother Earth, to the ground. And honestly, I totally agree with that, and I just don't want my bunny to be burned. He was so cute, my little angel. I felt so sorry. I didn't want to burn his body and dismember his body just for me to know what really happened. And at the same time, I didn't know if I really want to know what happened. Because if I find out that I could maybe save him, that will be way more painful for me. I will be probably all my life regretting. I don't know, my boyfriend told me that the best thing I can do for myself at that moment and for my mental health and my peace is to simply don't try to know what happened. Like, let it go and that's it. And also because I wanted to put him in a box with his, favorite candy, favorite bowl of strawberries, and put him on a full rug, all clean and pretty, just the way he will like. Of course, I ended up crying. I knew this is gonna happen, and actually, that's why I didn't put on my eyeliner for this video, because I knew I will end up crying. And this is why I wasn't able to film this video before. But even if I'm crying right now, I'm better. I'm way better. This is the first time I'm crying because of this in, I don't know, maybe weeks, and that's normal, I guess. Life feels so empty and unfair for me right now, and literally everything that I start or I try to do, I will fail miserably. I don't know, I'm just so tired sometimes, and it's so hard because I don't even have my number one therapy with me, my little bunny. But I'm grateful anyways, because I have such a wonderful boyfriend, such wonderful family and friends and stuff. But I will always miss my bunny, and that's inevitable. Let's wipe my tears and keep recording. I just wanted to honor him that way in exchange for never knowing what really happened. So that's exactly what we did. We found a beautiful box with snowflakes, because I often call him my little snowflake since he was white. And I put a little rug with fur on it. It was his favorite, and he was always on it. And I also put out his favorite strawberry bowl. He loved it because he knew it was the trade's bowl. I always put in pieces of strawberries, mango, banana, and things that he liked. And we also gave him a molang, like this one, but super little. Of course, it was like this. It was actually a keychain, so he can hug it with his little and cute paws and not feel alone. And the day after his death, we prepared his coffin. We cried all day for hours until we were basically dehydrated.
Siento, reina.
También me das otro taquito.
And we went to bury him and finally say goodbye. We made him the prettiest grave possible, but I still have to make him a wooden cross with bunny ears and with his photo, his name, and all that stuff.
Bueno, aquí ya hay raíces, o sea que pues... Más o menos, ¿no? Podemos ir probando, ¿no? Y ponlo ahí si quieres.
Ensucia su pelito blanquito como la nieve. Y como no le gusta estar sucio.
Juan es un caballo aquí en sitio así.
De las macetas, todavía se va a cortar también.
Claro, que aquí está justo la tala esta.
Si no, por aquí también.
Sí, porque aquí hace mucho aire. Y como no le metas bien, solo lleva el aire las flores.
Hazlo con esto que es de plástico para hacer el agujero porque es...
Y echarle tierra encima.
Mira qué bonito.